Testing, microphone, 1, 2, 3. It feels very weird to have a whole like camera set up again. So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been, I think, since my Montreal trip that I have vlogged. Correction, I actually did vlog my Vancouver trip, but I just never got around to editing that footage. But I'm planning to do a video on that trip soon because that is also where I got engaged last year. So that video is going to come soon, but I did put a poll on my Instagram asking what video you guys would like to see first, and it was between a 2022 recap, the Vancouver plus proposal story, and 2023 goals. And I actually thought the proposal story was going to win by a landslide, but 2023 goals surpassed it. And I think it's because I've shared the story on Instagram, and that's like where I asked the question. Anyways, welcome to my channel. My name's Kendra. I am very excited to be reviving my channel, and that kind of goes into what my first goal is. Also, I just watched back a little bit of my footage from that intro and realized I don't like the sound, or I'm not a big fan of how my mic sounds right now. It just sounds too grainy, I think. Maybe when I'm actually editing, it will sound different. Okay, so editing, Kendra popping in here, and listening to it on my computer sounds fine now. It doesn't sound as bad as it did before, so hopefully it turns out fine. Also, I'm so sorry, but in that first clip, and I feel like it's probably going to be throughout the video, I don't have high hopes now, but I feel like I sound very like mellow, like I naturally do. I feel like sound very like relaxed and chill, but I'm almost coming across like sad, which is very odd. I know when I was filming, like Andrew was still sleeping, so I was trying to keep it down, but I feel like just like in my face and eyes, I almost look like sad, which is very odd. So hopefully my facial expressions look happier throughout the video, but I am so sorry for that. So in no particular order, I will be talking about some of my goals for 2023, starting with focusing on creative projects. So in 2022, I would say things like, you know, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram posts, video editing, photography, all of that was put on a back burner. And to my defense, I think one of the reasons was because I was working full-time. So in 2021, I got my first adult job, and obviously working full-time 9 to 5 every day, obviously aside from weekends, although my job does, you know, I sometimes do have to work weekends, really was an adjustment to me because I've always been so used to having a lot more free time to do things. So I feel like I put a lot of passion projects kind of on hold, but the thing about me is like I've always had projects kind of ongoing. This video is off to a great start because as I was editing, I realized this clip randomly gets cut off and then it jumps into my next goal, and I didn't even finish saying what I was thinking, and I have no idea where the footage went. But basically what I was saying is that I was just so used to having a lot more free time when I obviously wasn't working full-time, so I had a lot more time to work on my own like creative projects. And yeah, overall that's just something I really want to focus on this year, is making time for things like YouTube or TikTok videos or photo editing or journaling or photography, etc. One more thing I quickly want to touch on too before we move into my next goal was that I feel like last year I really put a lot of effort into work. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that to a certain extent. Like, obviously, when you're starting out at a new job, you want to impress people. You want to put 200% into everything you do. And, you know, I feel like, obviously, I still, of course, care about my job and am going to put in, you know, the time and effort. However, 2023 is more about just focusing on that work-life balance. Like, I really think, at least for me in my personal life, there is room for that improvement, to have that balance of your personal life and your work-life balance, and it's something that I feel like is important to talk about. But yeah, I feel like I didn't like say that part in this little segment, so I just want to add that in. So my second goal I want to talk about was implementing healthier habits, because I have had a very interesting journey when it comes to just working out and body image and all that. That could be its own video, but oh, and a fire truck's going by. I have had a very interesting path when it comes to working out and eating healthy. I am the heaviest I have ever been. Growing up, I always was kind of around the same weight. I didn't gain weight very easily. I also didn't exercise too much. Like, I did do a lot of walking, which obviously played a big part into it. But when I moved out, and you can start ordering your own food, and then when you're in college, I don't know, I didn't prioritize, I feel like, my health very well these last few years. And then when the pandemic hit, obviously that made things worse. So it's been kind of an interesting journey trying to kind of get back into just finding those healthier habits. And I would say during the pandemic, I started working out a lot and then I'd fall off, and then I start working out again, fall off. So this year, I really want to focus on just implementing those like really easy habits. For instance, like going for a half-an-hour walk. I live in an area that is beautiful to walk around, and the problem with me is like I don't like walking in the wintertime, but it's just I need to start implementing that. Even like a 30-minute walk can make such a difference that those are the kind of habits that I want to implement. Or for instance too, I have a stationary bike. I actually love riding it, so a simple 30-minute ride on that thing too is a great form of just kind of getting your body moving. Another thing is also my eating habits. So I think there's a term for this, but I am one of those people that when I'm on the couch, I have to be snacking on something whether I'm hungry or not. And that is something that I need to work on, because obviously when you're on the couch just kind of lounging, you're going to lean towards like the cookies or the chips and all that. And I think just healthier eating habits too is something I really want to implement in 2023. So it's me again. One thing I want to add into this little segment too is that there is nothing wrong with eating chips or cookies when you're lounging on the couch. That wasn't the point of that comment I made. Once I start eating cookies, like I will just keep eating cookies, and that is like not good personally for me. But there is nothing wrong with eating cookies and chips and all that when you're lounging. That wasn't the point. I just have, like, when I sit on the couch, I have to be eating something. Like, when I'm watching something, I can't just, like, watch something. I typically have to be eating something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything, but I have to be eating something. So, anyways, I just want to pop on here and clarify that. And also eating kind of more proper meals. So I am definitely a snacker throughout my day. I also sometimes, won't eat till like 4 or 5 p.m. because once I get to my desk to work, usually I just work throughout the whole day and then forget to eat lunch, which is obviously very bad to do. So 2023 is all about kind of focusing on those smaller things. So making proper meals like at lunchtime and dinner time, and maybe like a snack at breakfast, because I've never really been a breakfast person. So maybe just in the morning eat like a granola bar or something to get me going for the day. And then just a 30-minute walk, or even a 20-minute walk, or a 15-minute like bike ride, like small things like that. Because I feel like, at least for me personally, if you set the bar too high, and I feel like this is going to sound kind of weird, but hear me out. I feel like almost if you set the bar like too high, it's easier to just kind of back out of your goals, because you're like, oh, whatever, like it's just not going to happen. So this year, my goal was kind of to set more realistic things that I can implement and then actually work towards, like aiming for those bigger goals, if that makes sense. Because I feel like if I go into it being like, oh, I'm going to exercise twice a day and only eat fruits and veggies and blah, 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 then obviously that's not realistic, and I don't think you can just change your lifestyle like that. So the goal is to implement small things and then work towards these bigger goals. And I'm really excited to just focus on my overall well-being. And also with the wedding coming up, so this is another thing I want to talk about too, is that I'm not trying to get like super skinny for the wedding and I need to be this like perfect size, but obviously on that day there's going to be photos taken. It's going to be a day that I look back on all the time, and I want to feel my best. This is why also I want to really implement these things this year, because our wedding is in 2024, so I have all of this year to really just build these healthy habits, and then hopefully, obviously by 2024, I'm feeling my best and my healthiest and I'm glowing. So my third goal is something that I actually already have. I feel like this skill, but I want to take it to like the next level, and that is just organization in general. So I feel like naturally I'm a very type A person. I'm very organized, but I don't have like a very good system, I would say. Every year I am that bitch that buys a planner, uses it for like a month, and then forgets about it. And I'm not very good at using my Google Calendar because I feel like I put things in my Google Calendar and then I never really look at it except for meetings at work. So this year though, I decided to buy one more planner, even though my planner from 2022 is actually good until I think it goes halfway till 2023. But the reason why I bought this planner is because it's from January 2023 till June 2024, which is nuts. So this planner is a lot bigger than I thought, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it's for more than a year. But I thought it'd be perfect because it's basically the whole timeline of our wedding. We are hoping to get married in May of 2024. And I love that if I use this the whole time, I will have like all of the wedding planning stuff in this one planner instead of like multiple planners. And I think it would just be really cool to like look back on in the future and see like all the appointments and meetings and all that. And then on top of that, I like how it's big because I'm not just using this for wedding planning. I actually do have a wedding planning book that I will show you guys in more of a wedding themed video. But I like how it's big because then I can also put obviously all my work stuff and like personal stuff. So it looks like this. It's pretty large. And the pages are lined like this. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is budgeting. So this is like working out, but I have a very interesting relationship with budgeting as well. I am the type of person to like save, and then out of nowhere, I will go on like a shopping spree. And I don't know why I do this, to be honest. And I think in 2022, I started really getting better at not shopping for clothes for like the sake of it. I became a lot more I think self-aware of just my like spending habits, and that is something I want to carry into 2023. I want to live more of like a minimalist lifestyle in 2023. No more just like random Amazon shopping sprees or clothing ones. I actually feel like, okay, so the reason why I shopped obviously so much in the last couple of years, one, was COVID. I was home all the time, nothing to do. Two, I gained a lot more weight during these years, so I did have to buy a lot more new clothes because a lot of my clothes did not fit me anymore. But now that I'm working, obviously I'm building a healthier lifestyle, and you know, I have tons of clothes that fit me now and stuff. I truly don't need to go shopping for anything. And another thing is, one, saving for a wedding, and two, saving for a down payment. So it's interesting. So before we got engaged, I would say that my primary goal was to save for a house, because that I feel like was the next step in our relationship. But then when we got engaged, I'm like, okay, well now that is the next priority, and then the down payment would be second to that. But I feel like it all kind of fits in the same category, because obviously we want to save for the wedding and honeymoon. And then, you know, we want to be living in like our own house in probably the next couple of years as well. So that's something that I really want to really focus on, especially the wedding, because that will be obviously coming up sooner. And this is one thing I started realizing more in 2022 is, even if you're putting like $10 aside or $20 aside or $5 aside, like it will all add up. And if you also invest your money right too, which is something I feel like Andrew and I want to look more into, then, you know, like saving anything in the long run is good. So I really want to implement putting aside a chunk of my paycheck every 2 weeks into savings. So another goal I want to talk about in this video was to read more. So I started reading The Silent Patient last night, and I'm already hooked on it, and I'm very happy I started the year with that book, because last year I only read 3 books, which is crazy. And I'm one of those people that if I get hooked on a book, I will read the book in like 2 days because I need to know how things end. That is like me with shows too. This is why I binge watch shows. I binge read books. And I just want to focus more on reading this year. So I think I'm going to buy an alarm clock because my problem is, and I think this is, okay. So on this camera, I do not have a viewfinder that comes outward, so I can't see if I'm in focus. I just filmed the whole like kind of last bit of my video and realized it was zoomed in all the way. So this is my second attempt at this. Hopefully I am in focus, but I now don't know what clips are usable and what's not. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this, but obviously I scroll on TikTok for like 4 hours, and that is prime time for me to read because obviously working a 9 to 5, the only time I really have to recreationally read is in the evening time. So if I'm spending, you know, hours watching Netflix or on TikTok, that is just prime time reading gone to waste. So I think what I want to do is buy an alarm clock that I can use and that I can leave my phone like in the office or out in the living room, out of sight, out of mind, so then I really can focus on just reading before bed and also just reading really good books. You know, I'm the type that like once I start a book, I feel like I force myself to read it even if I'm not liking it, but why do that when you could just read books that you do like instead of forcing yourself? Because I feel like if you're also forcing yourself to read, it makes you obviously not want to read and it becomes not enjoyable. So I'm only reading good books this year that I like. But anyways, I hope you guys liked that video. I feel like this video, editing it is going to be kind of chaotic because I feel like I've had to start and stop many times. You know, past me is not wrong. This has been a very interesting journey editing this video, but you know what? I've always thought editing is very therapeutic, so I'm not complaining. Obviously too, the sound is going to sound different in this clip because I am not connected to my microphone right now. And yeah, but I feel like 2023 is going to be a really good year. I think it's going to be a busy year, again with just wedding planning and everything I kind of talked about, but I feel like it's going to be a really good year. I think it's going to be a year of self-care and I'm really excited for that. I feel like prioritizing yourself is so important. And yeah, I hope you like this video. Let me know some of your 2023 goals and I will see you guys soon.